The day my brother Gabriel left, I watched from my bedroom window as he threw his duffel bag into his beaten-up Corolla. Dad stood in the driveway, face red with anger, pointing his finger and shouting words I couldn't quite hear through the glass. Mom just stood there, arms crossed, silent as always when Dad went on his rampages. I'm Kayla, and that was 10 years ago. I was 18 then, watching my 22-year-old brother drive away from our picture-perfect suburban home, never to return. At least, that's what Dad promised would happen. He's dead to us now, Dad had declared at dinner that night, stabbing his fork into his steak with enough force to make the plates rattle. Anyone who defies this family's values doesn't deserve to be part of it. I'd pushed my food around my plate, too afraid to speak up. Too afraid to tell Dad that Gabriel had only wanted to study art, instead of following the family tradition of becoming a lawyer. Too afraid to mention that Gabriel had begged me to come with him. "Pass the salt, dear," Mom had said, as if we hadn't just watched her firstborn child leave forever. That was the moment I learned what real power looked like. Not in Dad's thunderous voice or rigid rules, but in Mom's quiet compliance that made it all possible. "Kayla, you're spacing out again." Evangeline's voice pulls me back to the present. We're sitting in her cozy apartment, where I've been crashing more often lately. "Your coffee's getting cold." "Sorry, just thinking about Gabriel again." I wrap my hands around the mug, seeking its warmth. "You've been doing that a lot lately," she observes, tucking her legs under her on the couch. "Any particular reason?" Before I can answer, my phone buzzes. Unknown number. I almost ignore it, but something makes me pick up. "Is this Kayla McCoy?" a professional-sounding woman asks. "Yes, speaking." "I'm calling on behalf of Gabriel McCoy. He'd like to arrange a meeting with you." The mug slips from my hand, coffee splashing across Evangeline's pristine white carpet. "I'm so sorry!" I scramble for napkins while trying to keep the phone pressed to my ear. "Gabriel?" My voice cracks. "My brother Gabriel?" "Yes. He's in town and would like to meet tomorrow at the Grand Hotel, 2 p.m. He says to tell you he still has the drawing you made him the day he left." My hands freeze mid-cleanup. That drawing, a childish sketch of two stick figures holding hands, with "Don't forget me" scrawled in wobbly letters. I'd slipped it into his jacket pocket while he was packing. "I'll be there," I managed to say before hanging up. "Kayla?" Evangeline's looking at me with concern. "What's going on?" "He's back." I sink onto the coffee-stained carpet. "Gabriel's back, and he's staying at the Grand Hotel. Do you know how much those rooms cost?" "Holy shit," Evangeline whispers. "What are you going to do about your parents?" "Nothing yet." I pull out my phone again, Googling Gabriel's name. My jaw drops. Oh my God! The screen shows article after article about Gabriel McCoy, tech entrepreneur and billionaire philanthropist. Photos of my brother in expensive suits, giving keynote speeches, shaking hands with Silicon Valley giants. "Eve, look at this!" I thrust the phone at her. All this time, while Dad was telling everyone his son was probably living in a gutter somewhere. "Your brother's been building an empire," she finishes, scrolling through the articles. "But why now? Why come back after 10 years? My phone buzzes again. A text this time, from the same unknown number. "Bring the drawing if you still have it." Gee, I do still have it. It's in a box under my bed, along with every birthday card he ever sent me that Dad didn't manage to intercept and destroy. 10 years of cards arriving like clockwork, each one returned to sender by our parents, each one salvaged from the trash by me. "I need to go home and get something," I tell Evangeline, standing up. "And then, I need to borrow that black dress you wore to your sister's wedding." "The revenge dress?" She raises an eyebrow, already heading to her closet. "Girl, you're going to need heels too, and we're doing something about that hair." As I watch her pull out various items, my phone buzzes one final time. Another text. Time to show them what the black sheep of the family can do. "You in?" For the first time in 10 years, I feel something other than fear when thinking about standing up to my parents. I feel powerful. "Ha, I'm in," I text back, and hit send before I can change my mind. The grand hotel lobby gleams with old money and new expectations. I smooth down Evangeline's black dress, feeling like an imposter despite the confidence boost from the designer label. A tall man in a suit approaches, and for a moment, I don't recognize him. "Still wearing your hair in that messy bun, little sister?" Gabriel's voice is exactly the same, even if everything else isn't. "Still making dramatic entrances, big brother?" I counter, but my voice trembles. He pulls me into a hug, and suddenly I'm 18 again, watching him drive away. I grip the back of his suit jacket, probably wrinkling the expensive fabric. "Come on," he says, pulling back to look at me. "We've got a lot to talk about." The private dining room he leads me to could fit my entire apartment. A man in a crisp suit stands as we enter. "Kayla, this is Avery, my business partner and friend." Gabriel gestures. "Avery, my sister finally graces us with her presence." "The famous Kayla," Avery says warmly, shaking my hand. "Gabriel talks about you constantly." "Funny," I say, settling into my chair. "Our parents never mention him at all." Gabriel's smile tightens. "Speaking of our loving family, how are the tyrants? Still terrorizing the neighborhood with their perfect lawn and judgmental stares." I pull the drawing from my purse. "I brought what you asked for." His hands shake slightly as he takes it. "You actually kept it." "I kept everything. Every card, every note." I lean forward. "Why didn't you tell me you were successful? All those returned birthday cards. You could have found another way to contact me." "I needed to be sure," he says, carefully refolding the drawing. "Sure that you were ready, that you wouldn't run straight to Dad with the information." "I would never." "Wouldn't you?" His eyes lock with mine. "You're still living at home, Kayla, still playing the perfect daughter." "Because I had nowhere else to go." The words burst out louder than intended. "Some of us didn't have the courage to just drive away." Avery clears his throat. "Perhaps I should give you two a moment." "No," Gabriel and I say simultaneously. "Avery needs to be here for this," Gabriel continues, pulling out his phone. He slides it across the table, showing me a website. "Because this involves him too." I look at the screen. It's a charity organization. Breaking Chains Foundation, empowering young adults to escape family control. "What is this?" "This," Gabriel says, "is our revenge and our redemption. A foundation that helps young adults trapped in controlling family situations. Legal aid, housing assistance, education funding. Everything I wished I had when I left." "And everything you wished you could give Kayla," Avery adds quietly. I stare at them both. "You've been planning this?" "For years," Gabriel confirms. "The foundation launches next month. But first, I'm giving our parents a chance to apologize. To you, not me." "To me?" I laugh incredulously. "For what?" "For making you their puppet after I left. For forcing you to be their perfect daughter, because they couldn't control their son." He leans forward. "If they apologize, acknowledge what they did to both of us, I'll keep the foundation's launch quiet. If not, you'll make it very public," I finish, understanding dawning. Local boy made good, creating a charity inspired by his own family's abuse. "It would destroy their reputation," Avery notes. "Everything they've built in the community." "Just like they tried to destroy me," Gabriel adds. "But I'm not doing this without your blessing, Kayla. You're still there, still dealing with them. It has to be your choice." I think about last night's dinner, about Dad's lecture on family loyalty, and Mom's silent nods, about the college acceptance letters I burned because they weren't for law school. "What do you need me to do?" Gabriel's smile turns sharp. "Just drop a few hints. Let them know I'm back, that I'm successful. Make them curious enough to agree to a meeting." "They'll never apologize," I say. "You know Dad's pride." "Then they'll face the consequences." He pulls out a business card, slides it across the table. "Think about it. Call me when you're ready." I stand up, clutching the card. "I don't need to think about it. I'm ready now." "Kayla, no, listen." I press my hands flat against the table. For 10 years, I've watched them destroy every dream I had that didn't fit their plan. I've smiled and nodded and played my part. But I'm done. Gabriel exchanges a look with Avery, then turns back to me. You understand there's no going back from this? I think about the drawing, about the scared 18-year-old girl who drew it, about the woman I could have been without their control. Good, I say, and pull out my phone. Because I'm calling Mom right now to tell her all about running into her successful son at the Grand Hotel. The smile Gabriel gives me is worth every second of the last 10 years. You saw who? Mom's teacup clatters against its saucer, spilling Earl Grey onto her pristine tablecloth. Gabriel, I repeat, watching her face carefully. At the Grand Hotel. He looked successful. Dad's newspaper lowers slowly, his reading glasses perched on the edge of his nose. Successful? That boy couldn't manage his own lunch money. Actually, I scroll through my phone, pretending to read. According to Forbes, he's worth about $3 billion now. Something about tech startups and innovative software solutions. The newspaper crumples in Dad's grip. Impossible. I have the article right here. I hold up my phone, showing them Gabriel's profile picture. Him standing in front of his company headquarters. Confident smile in place. He asked about you both. Mom dabs at the tea stain with trembling hands. Did he seem well? Lorelei, Dad warns, but she continues. Is he eating properly? He always forgot to eat when he was stressed. He has a personal chef now, I say, watching Dad's face turn an interesting shade of purple. And a business partner named Avery. They're working on some big project together. Enough! Dad slams his hand on the table. We don't discuss that name in this house. You know the rules, Kayla. Rules! I stand up, my chair scraping against the floor. Like the rule that said I couldn't accept my art school scholarship? Or the one that said I had to study law instead of journalism? We gave you guidance, he says through clenched teeth. Structure! Look how well you've turned out. I laugh, and the sound surprises even me. Well, I'm 28, living at home, working as a paralegal in your firm, because you wouldn't let me take the bar exam until I proved myself. Meanwhile, Gabriel abandoned this family, Dad roars, standing up. He threw away everything we built for him. Arthur, the neighbors will hear, Mom whispers. Let them, I shout back. Let them hear how the great Arthur threw out his son for wanting to be an artist. How'd that work out, Dad? Because from where I'm standing, the son you disowned is worth more than you'll make in 10 lifetimes. Get out? Dad's voice turns deadly quiet. Get out of my house. It's not your house, I say, pulling out my final weapon. I checked the deed. It's in Mom's name, just like the car you drive and the firm you run. Grandma made sure of that before she died, didn't she? Because she knew what you were like. Mom gasps. Dad turns to her, betrayal written across his face. You told her? I didn't, Mom whispers. I never told anyone. I found the papers, I say, heart pounding. The same day I found all those birthday cards from Gabriel in your desk. The ones you said were returned to sender? Funny how they all made it here just fine. You went through my private papers? Dad takes a step toward me. I learned from the best. I stand my ground. You went through Gabriel's room every week, remember? Checking for contraband art supplies? That was different. Was it? Or were you just scared? The words tumble out now, years of silence breaking. Scared that he'd succeed without you? Scared that he'd prove you wrong about everything? Kayla, please. Mom stands up, reaching for me. Your father only wants what's best. No, I cut her off. He wants what's best for him, his reputation, his legacy. Well, guess what? Gabriel's built his own legacy now, and he wants to meet with you both. Dad scoffs. After 10 years, what could he possibly want? To give you a chance, I say quietly. One chance to make things right, to apologize. Apologize? Dad laughs harshly. For what? For providing everything? For trying to give him a future? Not to him. I pull out Gabriel's business card, place it on the table. To me. The silence that follows is deafening. Mom picks up the card with shaking fingers, while Dad stares at me like he's never seen me before. You have 24 hours to decide, I say, picking up my purse. Gabriel's number is on the card. If you don't call him, I let the threat hang in the air. Are you blackmailing us? Dad's voice is incredulous. No. I head for the door, then turn back one last time. I'm giving you exactly what you always gave us, an ultimatum. Choose wisely this time. As I walk out, I hear Mom start to cry. Dad calls my name, but I don't stop. In my pocket, my phone buzzes with a text from Gabriel. How'd it go? I smile as I type back. Exactly according to plan. Ball's in their court now. 10 years ago, I watched Gabriel drive away from this house. Today, I'm walking away on my own terms, and this time, I'm not the one who's afraid. They haven't called, Gabriel says, pacing the hotel suite. 24 hours have passed. I'm curled up on the plush sofa, watching him wear a path in the expensive carpet. Did you really expect them to? No, he admits, running a hand through his hair. But I hoped, for your sake. Avery enters with his laptop open. The venue's confirmed for next week. Press releases are ready to go. We just need your final approval on the guest list. Show me! I stand up, moving to look over his shoulder. The list is impressive. Local media, social activists, even a few state politicians. You're really going all out. The Breaking Chains Foundation launch needs to make waves, Avery explains. Maximum impact means maximum exposure for our cause. And maximum embarrassment for our parents, Gabriel adds grimly. My phone buzzes. A text from Evangeline. Your mom just came by the coffee shop asking about you. She seemed worried. Let her worry, I mutter, typing back a quick response. Speaking of worry, Avery turns the laptop toward me. We need to discuss your speech. My what? Gabriel stops pacing. We want you to speak at the launch. Tell your story. You're not just my sister, Kayla. You're exactly the kind of person this foundation is meant to help. I can't. I shake my head. Public speaking isn't my thing. Besides, Dad will what? Gabriel challenges. Ground you? Fire you? You don't work for him anymore, remember? He's right. I'd quit the firm this morning via email, copying every partner. Dad's response had been predictably explosive, but for the first time, his anger couldn't touch me. Fine, I say, but I need help writing it. Already covered. Avery pulls out a folder. I've drafted an outline. We'll work on it together. The suite's phone rings, making us all jump. Gabriel answers, listens, then looks at me. Mom's in the lobby. My heart stops. Alone? He nods. Should I send her up? I think about all the times she stood by silently, watching Dad crush our dreams. But I also remember the birthday cards she kept, even if she never gave them to me. Yes, I decide. But I want to talk to her alone. 5 minutes later, Mom steps into the suite, looking smaller than I remember in her designer suit. Kayla, she starts, then stops, taking in my appearance. I'm wearing one of the new outfits Gabriel bought me. Professional, expensive, nothing like the conservative clothes she always chose. You look different. Amazing what happens when you dress for yourself instead of Dad's approval. She flinches. Your father doesn't know I'm here. Of course not. I gesture to the sofa. Why are you here, Mom? She sits, hands clasped tightly in her lap. I found something after you left yesterday. She pulls out an envelope, aged and creased. It's from the day Gabriel left. Inside is a letter in my teenage handwriting. Dear Mom, I'm going with Gabriel. I can't be who Dad wants me to be anymore. Please understand. Love, Kayla. I never sent this, I whisper. No, she agrees. You wrote it, but you stayed. For me, I think. Because you knew I couldn't handle losing both of you. Tears burn my eyes. You lost us anyway. You just did it slowly instead of all at once. I know. She wipes her own eyes. Your father, he means well, but his love comes with conditions. I accepted that for myself, but I should never have accepted it for my children. Then help us change it, I say, pulling out the foundation brochure. This is what Gabriel's building, a way to help other kids like us. She reads it slowly, her hands shaking. Your father will never agree to this. I'm not asking Dad. I'm asking you. For once in your life, Mom, make a choice that isn't about him. She stares at the brochure for a long moment. The house isn't just in my name, she says finally. The firm's building too. Most of our assets are. Mom? She looks up, and for the first time, I see steel in her eyes. If I support this publicly, your father will never forgive me. Good, I say firmly. Maybe it's time he learned what that feels like. She stands, straightening her jacket. I'll need time to move some things around, financial things, and I'll need a good lawyer. I know several, I smile. Independent ones, not connected to Dad's firm. Text me the details for the launch, she says, heading for the door. I'll be there. And Kayla. She turns back. I'm sorry for everything. After she leaves, Gabriel and Avery come back in. Well? Gabriel asks. I hold up Mom's RSVP card for the launch. We just got our first official response. Avery grins. Think Dad will come too? Oh, he'll come, I say, remembering Mom's determined expression. He just doesn't know it yet. The door to Gabriel's suite bursts open, making me spill my coffee. Dad storms in, waving a newspaper. What is the meaning of this? He slams the paper down on the table. The headline reads, Tech Billionaire's New Foundation Tackles Family Control and Abuse. Good morning to you too, Dad, Gabriel says calmly, not looking up from his laptop. I see you got the advance press release. This is slander, Dad sputters. I'll sue you for every penny. No, you won't, Mom says, stepping in behind him. I hadn't even known she was there. Because everything in that article is true. Dad whirls around. You knew about this? I helped write it, she says quietly. Sit down, Arthur. We need to talk. Talk. He laughs harshly. About how our children are trying to destroy us? About how you destroyed us first, I stand up, moving to stand beside Gabriel. About how you turned what should have been a family into a dictatorship. I gave you everything. You gave us conditions, Gabriel counters. Rules, expectations that had nothing to do with what we wanted or needed. And now you're going to pay us back by airing our dirty laundry in public? Dad's face is red with rage. No, I say, pulling out a document. We're giving you one last chance to make it right. Sign this. He snatches the paper, reading quickly. A public apology? An admission of emotional manipulation? You must be joking. Does it look like we're joking? Gabriel stands. Sign it, and we keep the foundation's launch private. Refuse, and tomorrow morning, every major news outlet gets an exclusive interview about how the prestigious Arthur drove his son away and emotionally abused his daughter. You wouldn't dare. Try me. Gabriel's voice is ice cold. I have nothing to lose. My reputation will only improve when people learn what I overcame. But you, your precious law firm, your standing in the community? The firm, Dad scoffs. I built that firm from nothing. The firm that's in my name, Mom interrupts, along with everything else. Sign the apology, Arthur, or I'll give my own interview about why my mother made sure you couldn't control the family assets. Dad stares at her like she's grown a second head. Lorelei? I've already moved half our accounts, she continues, her voice stronger. I've spoken to a divorce lawyer. Your choice now is simple. Sign and save what's left of your reputation, or don't, and lose everything. The silence that follows is deafening. Dad looks from face to face, perhaps finally realizing he's lost control of his perfect family. You're bluffing, he says finally, but his voice wavers. Avery chooses that moment to walk in, carrying a tablet. The media responses are rolling in. Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. McCoy. I have CNN, Fox News, and 3 major newspapers requesting interviews. Should I schedule them? Dad's hands shake as he looks at the document again. This is blackmail. This is karma, I correct him. Everything you taught us about power and control? We learned well. Sign it, Arthur, Mom says softly. For once in your life, admit you were wrong. He picks up the pen, then throws it down. No, I won't be manipulated by my own children. Fine. Gabriel picks up his phone. Avery, release the full press package, including the interviews with Kayla's old art teachers about how Dad threatened to cut their funding if they encouraged her talent. Wait, Dad holds up his hand. You interviewed my colleagues? And your former partners, I add. The ones who left because they couldn't stand your controlling behavior. They were very chatty. You can't. We can, Gabriel interrupts. We will, unless you sign. Now. Dad's hand shakes as he picks up the pen again. He looks at Mom, perhaps hoping for a rescue, but she just watches silently. This will ruin everything I've built, he says quietly. No, Dad, I reply. It will just show everyone what you really built, a prison instead of a family. He signs. The scratch of pen on paper sounds like chains breaking. The foundation launch is next week, Gabriel says, taking the signed document. You'll both be there, smiling for the cameras, supporting your children's philanthropic efforts. After that, you can do whatever you want. But if you ever try to control either of us again, you'll destroy me, Dad finishes bitterly. Message received. He walks out without another word. Mom lingers, looking at us both. I'm proud of you, she says softly. Both of you. I should have said that years ago. After she leaves, I collapse onto the sofa. That was intense? Gabriel suggests. Terrifying, I correct. But also liberating, Avery finishes, sitting beside me. You both did well. It's not over, I say, thinking about the foundation launch ahead. This is just the beginning. Gabriel smiles. And for the first time, I see the brother I remember from childhood. Good, because we have so much more to do. The ballroom of the Grand Hotel buzzes with anticipation. Camera flashes pop like lightning as Gabriel takes the stage, looking every bit the successful businessman in his tailored suit. You ready? Evangeline squeezes my hand backstage. She's been helping me practice my speech for days. No, I admit, peeking through the curtain. Mom and Dad sit in the front row, picture-perfect smiles plastered on their faces. Dad's jaw twitches every time a camera points his way. Ladies and gentlemen, Gabriel's voice fills the room. 10 years ago, I left home with nothing but a duffel bag and a dream. Today, I stand before you to announce the Breaking Chains Foundation, an organization dedicated to helping young adults escape controlling family situations. More camera flashes. I watch Dad's knuckles turn white on his armrest. But this foundation isn't just my story, Gabriel continues. It's the story of countless others, including someone very special to me. Please welcome my sister, Kayla. The spotlight feels like an interrogation lamp as I walk onto the stage. My new dress, picked by Evangeline, catches the light, making me feel stronger somehow. When my brother left, I begin, my voice shaking slightly. I thought I'd lost my protector, my ally. Instead, I lost my voice. For 10 years, I lived someone else's dream, followed someone else's rules, became someone else's version of perfect. I look directly at Dad now. His face is a mask, but I can see the storm brewing behind his eyes. The Breaking Chains Foundation isn't just about helping people escape. It's about helping them find themselves again. About teaching them that love shouldn't come with conditions, that family shouldn't mean control, and that dreams don't have to match someone else's expectations. Mom dabs at her eyes with a tissue. Dad doesn't move. Today, I'm reclaiming my voice, I continue, pulling out a folded paper from my pocket. This is my acceptance letter to art school from 10 years ago. I never went because I was told good daughters don't waste their potential on frivolous dreams. Well, I'm enrolling again this fall, because good daughters also know when to stop listening to bad advice. The audience breaks into applause. I see several people wiping tears, including some of Dad's former colleagues. The foundation will provide scholarships, legal aid, and housing assistance, I explain. But most importantly, it will provide hope. Hope that there's life beyond control, beyond manipulation, beyond the cage of someone else's expectations. As I finish speaking, Gabriel joins me at the podium. And to kick off our first fundraising campaign, I'm matching all donations made today, dollar for dollar. The crowd erupts in cheers. Camera flashes intensify. I see Dad stand abruptly, heading for the exit, but Mom stays put, applauding with everyone else. Backstage after the speeches, Dad corners me in the hallway. "Happy now?" he hisses. "You've humiliated me in front of everyone who matters." "No, Dad." I step closer, refusing to back down. "You humiliated yourself by being the kind of father people need protection from." "How dare you? Everything okay here?" Avery appears beside me, along with two security guards. "Just fine," I say, not breaking eye contact with Dad. "My father was just leaving." "This isn't over," Dad warns. "Actually, it is." Mom's voice cuts through the tension. She walks up, standing between me and Dad. "The board of directors called an emergency meeting this morning. They've voted to remove you as managing partner of the firm." Dad's face goes pale. "They can't." "They can, and they did." Apparently, being associated with someone who inspires anti-abuse foundations isn't good for business. Mom's voice is steady. "I signed the papers an hour ago." "You signed? You're on the board?" "I've always been on the board, Arthur. I just never voted against you before. Consider this my first independent decision in 30 years of marriage." Dad looks like he's been slapped. Without another word, he turns and walks away. "Mom?" I whisper. She pulls me into a hug. "I meant what I said about being proud of you. Both of you," she adds as Gabriel approaches. "The reporters want more photos," he says. "Family shots if you're up for it." Mom straightens her shoulders. "I am, but first." She pulls out an envelope. "My personal donation to the foundation. I think you'll find it adequate." Gabriel opens it, his eyes widening. "Mom, this is half of everything," she says simply. "It's time it went to something worthwhile." As we walk back toward the cameras, I feel lighter than I have in years. The spotlight doesn't feel like an interrogation anymore. It feels like freedom. "Ready for those photos?" Avery asks, grinning. I look at my mom, my brother, and the army of supporters around us. Ready for everything. The morning after the launch, I wake up to 37 missed calls and one text from Dad. "You've made your point, let's talk." "Delete it," Gabriel says, watching me stare at my phone over breakfast in his suite. He's trying to regain control. "I know, but..." A knock at the door interrupts us. Avery enters, looking concerned. "You both need to see this." He turns on the TV. Dad's face fills the screen, standing at a podium outside his firm. Former firm now. "My children have painted me as a monster," he's saying, his voice breaking perfectly on cue. "But everything I did was out of love. I only wanted to protect them from making mistakes." "Turn it off," I snap, but Avery holds up his hand. "Watch." "And yes, perhaps I was too strict," Dad continues, "too focused on success. But to have my own wife conspire with them, to steal my firm, my legacy..." "Oh, he didn't," Gabriel growls. "I'm announcing today that I'm filing a lawsuit against the Breaking Chains Foundation for defamation and against my wife for fraudulent manipulation of company assets." The room goes silent. My phone buzzes. Mom calling. "Get her over here," Gabriel tells me. "Now." 20 minutes later, Mom arrives, looking shaken. "He's frozen all our joint accounts, changed the locks on the house. His lawyer just served me with papers." "Let me see." Avery takes the documents, reading quickly. "This is desperate. He's claiming temporary insanity when he signed the apology, saying you all coerced him." "Can he do that?" I ask. "He can try." Gabriel's voice is deadly calm. "But he forgot something important." "What's that?" "I record everything." He pulls out his phone, plays a video. It shows Dad in the suite, perfectly lucid, reading and signing the apology. Standard business practice. Never trust anyone completely. That's not all. Mom pulls out her own phone. I've been recording his threats for years. Just, just in case. Her voice breaks. I never thought I'd need them. Mom. I move to hug her, but she steps back. No, let me finish. There's something you both need to know. She takes a deep breath. The reason your grandmother put everything in my name wasn't just because she didn't trust your father. It was because she saw what happened to her own sister in an abusive marriage. What are you saying? Gabriel asks quietly. Your father, the control, the manipulation, it wasn't new. He learned it from his father. I saw the signs early, but I thought I could protect you both by staying, by managing him. Instead, I became part of the problem. Tears streamed down her face now. When Gabriel left, I thought if I just played along, kept the peace, I could keep Kayla safe. But I was wrong. I made you both carry burdens you never should have had to carry. Mom, stop! I try again to reach for her. No, you need to hear this. Yesterday wasn't just about the foundation. I've been meeting with lawyers for months, gathering evidence, preparing for this moment. Your father's lawsuit? I expected it, planned for it. What do you mean? Avery asks. She pulls out another folder. These are records of every questionable decision he's made at the firm. Every client he pressured, every associate he bullied, every ethical line he crossed. I've kept copies of everything for 20 years. Gabriel whistles low. You've been building a case against him all this time? I've been building an escape route, she corrects. For all of us. I just needed the courage to use it. My phone buzzes again. Dad calling. Answer it, Mom says suddenly. Put it on speaker. I do. Dad's voice fills the room. Kayla, this has gone far enough. Tell your brother to call off his dogs and we can… No, I interrupt. You're done giving orders. Listen here. No, you listen, Mom cuts in. Remember that ethics investigation you barely avoided 5 years ago? I have the real documents. Remember Judge Harrison's daughter? I have those photos too. Silence. You taught our children that power means control, Mom continues. But you forgot to teach them where real power comes from. It comes from truth, Arthur. And I have 20 years of your truth ready to share. You wouldn't dare. Try me, drop the lawsuit, sign the divorce papers, walk away with your reputation somewhat intact, or I'll show everyone exactly who you are. The line goes dead. Mom, Gabriel says slowly, you're kind of terrifying. She laughs, and for the first time, it sounds real. I learned from the best. I just used the lessons differently. What now? I ask. Now? She straightens her shoulders. Now we finish what we started. Together. Avery's already typing on his laptop. I'll have the legal team ready for whatever he tries next. He won't try anything, Mom says confidently. He's a bully, and bullies back down when someone stands up to them. We just had to stand up together. Looking at her now, I finally see what real strength looks like. It's not in Dad's loud demands or rigid rules. It's in Mom's quiet resistance, in Gabriel's determined success, in my rediscovered voice. The autumn breeze carries the scent of oil paint through my studio window. My brush moves across the canvas, adding final touches to the portrait. A family, but not the kind I grew up with. In this painting, the faces are warm, the poses natural, the love unconditional. Still working? Gabriel appears in the doorway, carrying coffee. Almost done. I step back, studying the piece. What do you think? I think it's perfect for the Foundation's new office lobby. He hands me a cup. The board's going to love it. The Foundation has grown faster than any of us expected. Every week brings new stories, new faces, new chances to help. My art therapy program is already changing lives. Turns out those frivolous dreams Dad feared so much have real power. Speaking of the board, I wipe my hands on my paint-stained apron. Did you see Mom's proposal? For the parent rehabilitation program? Yeah, he grins. Pretty bold move, using her experience to help other parents break toxic patterns. A knock at the studio door makes us turn. Evangeline stands there with Avery, both grinning suspiciously. What did you two do? I ask. Check your email, Evangeline says. I pull out my phone, open the new message. It's from Dad's former firm. They want to partner with the foundation. I look up, shocked. Provide pro bono legal services to our clients? Keep reading, Avery urges. And we wish to formally announce the retirement of Arthur, effective immediately. My voice trails off. He's really gone? Apparently, Mom's evidence was pretty convincing, Gabriel says. The partners suggested he step down quietly or face a very public ethics investigation. Another knock. Mom enters, looking younger somehow, freer. I just heard, she says. Arthur signed the divorce papers this morning. No contests, no conditions. Just like that? I can hardly believe it. Just like that. She moves to study my painting. Though I suspect having his entire legal history hanging over his head helped change his mind. Mom, Gabriel says carefully, are you okay? She touches the canvas gently, tracing the painted figures. I'm better than okay. For the first time in 30 years, I'm free. We all are. But what will you do now? I ask. Well, she straightens up, smoothing her jacket. The Foundation's parent program needs a director. Someone who understands both sides of the story. If you'll have me? Are you kidding? I hug her, getting paint on her expensive blouse. Sorry, she laughs. A real laugh, not the polite one she used to use. It's just clothes, sweetheart. Some things matter more. Like family? Gabriel suggests. Like real family, she corrects. The kind we choose to be, not the kind we're forced to be. Avery clears his throat. Speaking of choices, there's one more surprise. He hands me an envelope. Inside is a letter from the city's most prestigious art gallery. They want to feature my work, not just the foundation piece, but a whole series about family, power, and breaking free. How did you... I start. I might have shown them your portfolio, Evangeline admits. The one you've been hiding in your apartment. The one Dad said would never be good enough, I whisper. The one that proves him wrong, Gabriel corrects. My phone buzzes. A text from Dad. I hope you're happy with what you've done. Before I can respond, Mom takes my phone, types quickly, and hands it back. Her response reads, We are. Goodbye, Arthur. She blocks his number before giving my phone back. That felt good, she says, and we all laugh. Looking around my studio, at my brother who came back for me, my mother who found her strength, my friends who became family, and my art that finally has a voice, I realize something important. You know what? I pick up my brush again, adding one final stroke to the painting. I am happy with what we've done. All of it. Even the hard parts? Gabriel asks. Especially the hard parts. I step back, studying the finished piece. Because they led us here. The painting shows a group of people, not posed stiffly like our old family portraits, but caught in genuine moments of connection. In the background, broken chains lie discarded, while new bonds, formed by choice rather than obligation, link the figures together. It's perfect, Mom says softly. And it is. Not because it's flawless, but because it's real. Like us. Like the family we've become. So, Evangeline claps her hands, who's ready to celebrate? Actually, I look at my paint-covered clothes. I need to clean up first. No, Gabriel says, throwing an arm around my shoulders. You're perfect just as you are. And for the first time in my